Mine workers are staging a sit-in underground at the Grondal mine in Rustenburg. The protest started yesterday when the workers refused to return to surface. The protest is in response to an employee share ownership scheme, which they allege they've been excluded from by the mine. The National Union of Mine Workers Secretary in Rustenburg, Geoffrey Moatshe, is joining us for that. Geoffrey, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on this evening. It seems this is a matter that could have formed part of an agreement of 2023, the 2023 Kroondal wage agreement signed by yourself as well as AMCU. How did those talks go?
Thank you, Thabo, for having us, and good to the viewers at home. Your introduction of the topic is correct, Thabo. This emanates from an agreement that we had with Sibanye Kroondal. One would have to put you in line that Sibanye has 3 operations in Rustenburg, which is your Marikana, your Rustenburg, and Grondal, where the current sit-in is happening. And it is correct that we signed an agreement last year in which it was agreed that the issue of shares would be a process issue, and we would have to deal with that post the signing of the agreement. Now, as things stand, both operations, your Marikana and your Rustenburg, they apparently have been paid out their dividend that was due to them. Then, as such, that created an expectation from workers that they would get their dividends as well. Yeah. We must indicate that it's not a matter of workers refusing to come out of work. We were told yesterday morning that workers did not proceed to their workplace, but they entered down underground and locked themselves from behind. And before I just came to the interview, the update was that 81 of the workers have been released underground, because we maintained that some were held against their own will. But one needs to point out that dealing with a company in the picture of Sibanye is always challenging. Yeah. You'll remember that earlier in May, we staged a protest against Sibanye in Carltonville, basically around the issues of retrenchment. Now, we cannot shy away from the fact that the demand that has been raised by workers, it remains our responsibility as a trade union to make sure that demand is taken up with management, right, and we address such. Yeah. What is of key importance, Thabo, now is that the health and safety concern, yes, that workers are underground, yes, and underground is not conducive. So
let's talk about that a little bit. 81 released. We are working with the number of 211. Is that a confirmed number, or is it more? Is it less than what?
The number was 213, Thabo.
213.
And 13 yesterday managed to come out.
13
and
came
then
out.
Today, like I said recently, 81 were released, and in the 81, it's contractor workers and some officials. Then it says to you, probably those who are still left underground, there are 119, would be workers who are directly employed by Sibanye. Now the 81 has been released as a confirmation. And
so of the 119 that are there, are they all your members?
No, we are coexisting with AMCU at that operation, and AMCU is in majority there. And the earlier stats were indicating that 24% of the workers who are underground are members affiliated to the National Union of Mine Workers. And therefore, we are saying this can be an issue of union membership and union affiliation. It's an issue of health and safety where, as unions, as all stakeholders, we must worry that workers are still underground, where you've got workers that are chronic, you've got female workers who might have not taken their sanitary pads as a result of them being on their monthly cycle,
Yeah.
and with the expectation that they would have come out in 8 hours time.
Right.
Now, those are the things that really are a concern and a priority to us as labor. Because
are you engaging to end the strike so that those issues are taken care of? Hygiene issues, health issues, hazardous issues are taken care of. So are you engaging the employer? Because the employer says we're engaging stakeholders with a view to end this city.
Earlier in the afternoon, the employer went to go and talk with AMCU, and then we were made to believe that at a later stage, NUM is going to be engaged. But our soldiers on the ground have been waiting for such an engagement. I must also be quick to point out, Thabo, that this was now spread into the other third operation of Sibanye, which is Bambanani Shaft. Because the 200 that are, or the 119 odd that were standing, they are at one operation, which is Kwesi, and at another operation, which is K6, workers were returned because of a fear that they would also stage a sit-in.
Yeah.
And a few minutes ago, night shift at Bambanani, it was blocked out in a precautionary attempt. But we must indicate that as a trade union, issues that workers are raising, we are going to confront them straight on, head on, to make sure that workers are gaining those benefits. Hence, I was saying we need to caution the public by turning this thing into a union affiliations kind of an arrangement. We are saying it's a health and safety matter. Workers are underground. That should be our priority. One, as stakeholders, and two, as a society in general. Right. That let's worry about workers coming out of underground, because it can be that over 24 hours workers are underground. And
what will it take for the workers to come out from underground? Because one, you are under this impression that in the 19 days from signing the agreement, that when they made the payments on the 1st of June, these particular workers would have been included in that. The employer says that was not the agreement. The agreement was that, yes, there is an allocation for talks. This would only take place after the acquisition, the PSA acquisition. Where's the fault line there in terms of the understanding?
Let me indicate, Thabo, that earlier in the afternoon, a team of two from each stakeholder, that is NUM management and AMCU, went underground to go and persuade workers. But what is a worrying factor, which would serve as an impediment to us achieving these things, is that as and when these actions of this nature appear, you will have management rushing to issue ultimatums and intentions to dismiss. And that on its own agitates workers, because they're raising a genuine concern. Instead of us, or instead of you as an employer, going deep into making sure that you find the root cause, you only resort to bureaucratic ways of saying you shall dismiss, and that on its own, it's agitating.
So what's the ultimatum that they put in place this afternoon?
They issued two ultimatums, and the third one was that they were going to dismiss the workers, and that is what I say. It's agitating, and we can't have that approach when things are in this nature.
Yeah. Could there have been a miscommunication with the workers for them to expect a payment, or at least to be included in the employer scheme by the 1st of June, when this was not the case? Because they are saying if there is an acquisition or a takeover that is in place, surely you cannot be handing over what is still being negotiated on.
You are right, Thabo. I indicated earlier that the issue of shares at Kroondal was an issue of process, wherein post the signing of the wage agreement, we should have completed the ESOP scheme at Kroondal. And workers are right that we are employed by the same employer, but there seems to be preferential treatment towards others when we are employed by the same employer. Hence, when others are getting this thing, and then there's an expectation, which is genuine in any way, from the workers at Kroondal, that they should get their dues as well.
So what is the way forward from your members? What would they want as, I suppose, a show of good faith for them to then come out from underground, avoid the health and hazardous issues that you are raising, allow the women to go and get their sanitary towels, allow those with maybe comorbidities to get their medication and so on and so forth, and be able to get food?
Look, Tabo, we remain hopeful that we're going to engage workers and try to persuade them to come out of underground, and then we take their issues to management. Obviously, I don't think management would risk that they fall into the same trap where workers would say, you promised us and you didn't deliver. It is our only hope that these issues that workers are raising, we need to take them to management and say, we can't find ourselves in this situation as a result of you dragging feet in terms of addressing issues of workers, and you approaching a stance that says, thou shalt be dismissed. It can be approached that way, Tab.
Geoffrey, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on there. That's Geoffrey Moatshe speaking on behalf of NUM in Rustenburg.